Yo, welcome back to the Wrestling Strength Podcast. As always, I am your host, Coach Myers, and the Wrestling Strength Podcast is brought to you by Max Effort Muscle. With our famous Build-A-Stack option, you can get free swag and all the high-quality supplements that you need. Make sure to go to maxeffortmuscle.com. You can get the Wrestler Stack. This is what all my guys from, down my young high school guys from Bo Bassett, all my guys here in the gym, all the way up to, Colin Moore on the senior level. They use our greens, our amino recovery, our tri-blend creatine, and then either our tri-blend protein or our plant protein. That's our Wrestlers Gain Stack. It's the off season right now. You wrestlers need to be on the Coach Myers app, following the same workouts as my guys, taking the wrestling stack. Make sure you guys are getting strong, getting bigger. Forget cutting weight this year. You're going to be strong, so it ain't even going to matter, all right? maxeffortmuscle.com for all your supplement needs. We also have another sponsor here at the Wrestling Strength Podcast, and that is Ice Barrel. Make sure you go to icebarrel.com, use code GUTCHECK. You're going to save money. You get that Ice Barrel sent to you, and you can start getting colder and feeling better with cold exposure. Now, we've been off for a few weeks, maybe even a month or so. It's been a little while, but I've been waiting to kind of bring back a real banger of an episode. I just didn't want to come back with a normal episode. And as you could probably tell from that intro, I got a special treat for you today. I got my man, the super talented former Central Ohio wrestler, high school Division II state runner-up way back in the day, my man, and now performing and professional musician, Jutt Huffman. What up, Jutt?
How's it going? We went right into that. I thought we were going to run through it a little bit. Dang, man.
No, man, I like to just one take. That's why I was like, just do it, and then we're just going to roll with it,
Yeah, sounds great.
That's kind of your style anyway,
Yeah, definitely going with the flow.
No doubt, man. So I want to kind of give everyone a, kind of quick background on you and how, you and I know each other. The original old school gym was back in Pataskala, back in the day. Now, the one that most people are familiar with on Main Street, we're talking before that was up in the middle of town on Wood Street there. That was the original old school location, maybe 2004, 2005 or whatever. And it was when, I don't even know if I wasn't boxing competitively yet. I think I was doing like some jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. And, we didn't really have a wrestling room, but we had like a heavy bag in the back, and we had some little like cheap mats that kind of snap together, like the ones you get at Target or something. Yeah. And I was aware of who you were because you went to the local high school and graduated maybe a year or two before that. And I knew, we had this kid Huffman that was really tough, made the state finals his senior year. I knew you went to Kent and wrestled, then you came home, after a year or two or whatever, and you came back around the gym. I mean, you started kind of hanging and working out a little bit and scrapping in that back room back area. Me, you, Mike Healy, and Bubba and some of those guys. And that was a lot of fun, man. And that was probably now, I don't know, 20 years, maybe 15 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. It was a while ago. I remember the first time just walking in there, there's just dudes that were just jacked and just slamming weights and just, you go to a lot of gyms and it's like, especially like Planet Fitness or something, and it's like real mellow, people are talking all the time. This was just like real gym, a real gym. It's just like people just, getting the weight up and I was like, oh, yeah, I like this place.
Now, at the time, I can't remember if you were playing music yet at that time or not, but I want to go back and circle back to some of your wrestling stuff because I think you do got a great story to tell about that transition from your junior to senior year. But were you playing music at that time yet?
Yeah, I started playing music when I was 13. I wanted to play before then, but my pops told me I was too young to start playing guitar. And
that's usually what people say about like lifting weights. Like 13, you're too young before that.
Yeah, so I think it was the end of 8th grade, and there was a guy, Jake Parsons. He graduated with me, and he was playing guitar. It was the last day of school in middle school, and he was playing guitar. I just remember a big group of people around him, and I'm like, what is this? And he's jamming and singing these songs. I'm like, what? I thought I was too young to do this. And that was kind of before internet and all that, so you didn't realize. I didn't realize that there were kids that were already playing for a long time, So I went home that day and went, Dad, I need a guitar. He's like, you want a guitar? You need to go get a job, and you got to pay for one. And I'm like, what? And I was still too young to work. So I went around town, and that's when I realized that you can't legally work, I guess, if you're, I think it's like, I was like 13, 12 or something. And then I came back, and he's like, well, here, I'll find you a job. And he got me landscaping for like $5 an hour and picking up trash around the apartment complex. And I saved by about midsummer, I saved up, a couple $100 or whatever. And we went out and got a Squier Stratocaster. And he taught me a few chords and basic rhythm, and I just kind of just like wrestling, just took that intensity, that drive and consistency, and just it was for fun though. I was just playing as much as I possibly could. There were definitely times where it was like 4 hours a day, just till your fingers are literally bleeding, and that and just somehow it turned into what it is today. But
I'll tell you, I can remember, it might have been around that same time when you were at the gym and we were training together and wrestling and that back there on the concrete basically or whatever. But I can remember people saying that you played music and played the guitar like out at Buckeye Lake and stuff. But I just knew you as Huffy the wrestler, Yeah. And I can remember thinking like, oh, okay, yeah, he maybe plays the guitar. There's a lot of people that say they play the guitar or whatever. But then when I was finally able to see you play, and this might have even been after you moved away and you came back, because again, it was kind of before social media, so we weren't following each other. I didn't get to see clips you playing. Dude, the first time I heard you sing and play, I was just absolutely blown away. Like I had no idea like the level of talent,
Yeah.
So it was.
I appreciate that.
And so do you think it was something you had a knack for, early on, or do you think coming from a blue collar family and wrestling background and that you just grinded and got good at it over time?
Yeah, I mean, music was always there. I think I was, it's always been around for me. But it's the same. I think there is something where there's like talent and there's like just like God-given ability, maybe in the way you're raised for anything. And some people say, "Oh, music's not. I can't carry a tune in a bucket," or music isn't isn't for them. And there's other people that try to do music later on in life, try to learn it then. Where I think it's harder. I think it's really something you got to kind of get into when you're younger, if to be really good at it. But I'm not sure. It's definitely a blessing. I definitely wouldn't be as good as I am with it without the practice and the just the love of it. Really, same with wrestling. Like I loved it at some point. I started in 6th grade and got my ass kicked that whole year. Didn't even go to a tournament or anything because the coach is like, "You're not ready for that." And then,
which good for your coach to tell you that.
Yeah,
because so many kids, especially if they start late, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they get pushed into competing too soon, and then they're like, "All right, I'm done with this."
Just quit. Yeah. That was Bart Friedenberg. Was my coach. He took us to like WCW. We got to meet Ric Flair. And it's really crazy because I just ran into Ric Flair down in West Palm and like, hey, Bart and everything, and had a little conversation with him, and it kind of came full circle because, now I'm doing music and it's crazy, those memories and how everything just comes back like that. But yeah, so it was. I started in 6th grade, got my ass kicked. 7th grade, I started actually doing matches. I think I was, I can't remember, like 13-8. I had a winning record or something. And then that's when I really started to love it. And like once you start actually winning.
It's way more fun when you win, right?
It's way more fun, way more fun. And then, just took it really seriously starting probably in high school.
Well, and luckily for you, we're out here and, you were at Watkins Memorial in Pataskala, which was not necessarily like a wrestling hotbed. And even, back then, like early 2000s, Central Ohio was really behind Northeast Ohio. Whereas now, it's starting to catch up. There's all these elite clubs and stuff. But you had really lucked out in the fact that you kind of just came up in a program where Eddie Jane was the head coach at that time.
Yeah.
He was a Northeast Ohio legend from St. Ed's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He definitely, he kind of got me into the Brands Brothers style of wrestling, and a lot of short offense, heavy hands, really aggressive, and it worked well with my style because I wasn't I was never real strong or anything. I could lift like crazy, could never really gain weight, and but I was a runner. I ran cross country in middle school, and I could just run forever. As a kid, just always outside, playing football, climbing trees, running everywhere. So that was kind of how I wrestled. It was perfect for how he coached. Because I could go, in the third periods when I'm coming back, like I could be getting whooped and I'm just the whole time just hanging in there. And by the third period, they're tired and just go time. So that was great. But we also had Coach Hammond.
Mm-hmm.
He won Coach of the Year my senior year for the whole state.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys had a great squad that year, I remember.
Yeah, we got 5 of us to state.
And I think 4 of you guys made it on the podium, right?
I think 3 or 4 of us.
So Weisenstein, right?
Well, yeah, he actually got it. He got out. He didn't make it. He could have won that thing.
Alex though was a placer, right?
Alex got 4th, I believe, 3rd or 4th.
maybe, and then you were a finalist.
Yeah, I got second. I lost by 4 points in the finals. Oh man,
Hey, well,
still relive that sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you'll never get that back. But I think something good that I want you to touch on is that because I was aware of you when you were in high school. That was maybe like the second year we had the gym open up here, and I was trying to kind of recruit some wrestlers to start training or whatever. So I knew who you were, and I remember that you were tough, but I don't remember like knowing that you were good, that you were like the man. So kind of maybe talk about that jump from junior to senior year. 'Cause I think that a lot of wrestlers get stuck in like okay, well, I qualified this year, so maybe I can place bottom of the lower half of the podium next year. They kind of think like there has to be these little incremental steps, and they get hold themselves into like, well, if I didn't make it to districts this year, then next year districts is my ceiling or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it was it was great because I had great guys to work with. I mean, Weisenstein was my workout partner mostly those 4 years, but we also had Jimmy Kincaid, and he placed, I think that was the first year they started placing
top eight.
I think it was a top 4 or top 6 before that.
Yeah.
And so I think he placed seventh, I think, or 6th or 7th. I can't remember. Probably 7th. And we also had Brad Tanzillo, who he was known for
the Tanzillo
Thrilla. And it was basically like a guillotine.
But he would elevate
without
right?
locking. Yeah, and then he would just flip him over his head. Yeah, he'd just pull up until they're, you can't breathe, and then flip him over, kick him over with his foot, and then pin him. And he walked through high school with that move. And we had wrestle-offs, and that was because I was when it came to like technique, I was probably a little better than him because I wrestled all year round, and I just did like freestyle and a little Greco. I sucked at Greco, but so that's how I could beat him, is just by staying tight and just sticking to the basics, not doing anything fancy, and just making sure that he doesn't get me in that guillotine.
Don't let him. Yeah, if he got your head, you were going over.
Yeah, it was a pain in the
actually
butt.
remember seeing him wrestle some matches at districts. He would be losing the match, but then you knew at some point someone was going to get to his leg, and they were going to have their head in the wrong spot, and that was it.
And I think every coach that knew who he was telling the wrestlers, like, don't shoot on him. Like,
right.
Don't just wear him out. So he was a great guy to work with. He was super athletic. And Jimmy, I mean, there were times, especially in the earlier parts of high school, where we had to wrestle off, and he would end up going up a weight class or something. There was one time in particular where one of us had to wrestle a girl, and he ended up having to do it. And I was thankful for that, because it's hard if you're a guy, if you're wrestling a girl, whether you win or lose, it's kind of
a catch-22 for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to. It'd be hard to. I'm glad I didn't have to deal with that. But
we had our 103 pounder on my team. Maybe my senior year, he lost to a girl at a tournament. And we never let him live it down. But she was tough though. I mean, she was a district qualifier. 103, it's a little bit more even. You get into like kind of the upper weights, and the physical maturity is going to be a little bit different. But like at 103, this girl, she was kicking people's asses, and he, my guy Ryan, if you're listening, sorry Ryan, I'm gonna tell the story, but he lost to her in like a double overtime heater, and it was one of those ones like they both have bloody noses, their hair's a mess. I mean, it was, but anyway, yeah, we never let him live that down. But thankfully now, girls wrestling has taken off. I mean, it's a huge sport now. I mean, I think Watkins hosted a all-girls tournament last year, and they had like 350 or 400 girls that came from
That's
all over
wild.
the state.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. That's Jane's doing that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Eddie Jane's heading it up. They got some tough girls at Watkins too. So you think about how far the sport has come, really, just in general in Central Ohio, to think like a small school like what used to be a small school like Watkins Memorial is now this huge D1 school. They got a girls team. They're having a whole girls tournament. And they got a lot of tough kids there too. So
yeah,
pretty cool. But
that's great.
But again, let's circle back. Let's talk about kind of that jump from your junior year to your senior year.
Okay, yeah. So
we got off track on that a little bit.
Yeah, because I wanted to just talk about how it was it was Jane and the boys that really helped me get there. It's an individual sport, but you got to have some good guys around to really meet your potential. But so for me, I never made it to districts until my senior year. But I was ranked in the state all 3 years before that, and then my senior year they just didn't rank me. They're like,
because they're like, this guy's
a dud. Yeah. So for me, it didn't quite feel like a jump, like a sudden jump. I mean, there's a lot of behind the scenes, like I was wrestling all year round for 4 years, going out of
and
state.
I guess you had to have
tournaments
been having good seasons, for you to get, whether it was Brakeman or Buxman or whoever was doing the rankings back then, for them to rank you every year. But I just remember like not seeing your name in the local paper as a qualifier or whatever. So I knew that you were tough, but I just remember thinking that you just weren't like really to that next level yet.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, it was probably kind of a mental block. I mean, my freshman year, I was ranked like I don't know, in like the top 10 or something, and then I broke my rib right before sectionals, I think, and I wrestled that whole gig with a broken rib and didn't know it, and that was painful. But so fast forward to sophomore year, what the heck happened then? I think sophomore and junior, I just choked somehow. I don't know. I think it was a mental thing. I get so psyched up and just want to go, like, and I don't know what it is. It's some kind of mental block that I had. And by senior year, it's like, dude, this is it. You can't choke. You got to go. So it was. So
you made it out of the sectional. Did you win the sectional that year?
Yeah, won sectionals, won districts, and then made it all the way to state finals and
just went on a tear.
Yeah. And one thing I learned, which is it was kind of too late. I kind of knew it, I guess, is that your diet matters. Your diet really matters. And the night before the state finals, the coach took us out to eat, and I was just eating everything. I mean, I ate like the biggest meal ever. Had a bunch of ice cream and everything. And the next day, I was probably like 10 or 15 pounds, more than I was. And I thought that I'd just be able to like get that weight off, by the time it's time to wrestle.
You feel sluggish when that happens.
I was slow. I was sluggish. And if there's anybody that gets, if there's anybody listening that gets to that point, like, it's not over till it's over.
No, you celebrated too early, really.
Yeah.
You were so excited. I mean, because that Friday night, the shot, when you win, I mean, there's a part that feels like, all right, I made it, but you still got to wrestle now the most important match
ever
in your life.
Yeah. So that if there was anything I could do over and take back, that would be is that diet before the night before.
I'm going to put that on Coach Hammond and Coach Jane. They should have like been on you by like, no, you're not getting the ice cream buffet.
Yeah. It was. It was probably, it was just, I thought it would be good, it'd be okay. I was thinking get as big as I can so I can have an advantage. But that, I was slow. Like that guy, who was it? It was, what was that guy's name? Friary. He went to, I can't remember. Padua, I think. Friary.
Maybe Padua, Francisco.
He was on a national team with me. And I remember during nationals, there's a lot of guys that are kind of lazy in the summer. It's like they're not into it as much. And I remember he was kind of one of those guys who just seemed like he didn't really want to be there in the summertime. And then he just whooped my ass in the state finals. He was real quick. He kept doing that. It was like a low single, outside low single, a sweep single kind of thing. And I just was so slow. He just kept getting my leg, and it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah. Well, still, though, what a great way to end your career after, having an injury and then choking early a couple of times and not really, fulfilling your potential early on. But I think it's a good lesson that, just because you don't make it 1 year or whatever doesn't mean you can't make it the next year. And really, like I said, a lot of people, I think they think, well, if I didn't make it this year, and then they make it the next year, they're just happy to be there. Whereas you really, to make it to the state finals, I mean, it's a pretty, especially in Ohio. I mean, Division II, I think, was maybe even a little tougher then because a lot of these, schools that are really big now that are D1, they were all in D2. Like all those old Tangy schools were the ones that existed, they were D2,
And Graham.
Yeah, which are still there,
Okay. Yeah, it was good. I cut a lot of weight, and I don't miss any of that.
All right, man. So, obviously, wrestling, when you've wrestled at that level and as long as you did, you're always going to be a wrestler. It's always going to be kind of a part of you. But now really the main focus is you're a musician. How do you think, is there any type of parallels you can draw between, maybe your career as a wrestler and now you as a professional musician? And just to kind of make sure everyone sticks around, we're going to do our first ever live performance in the HQ here. So after we get done chopping it up, Jutt's going to play some songs for us, which I can't wait.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. So I guess I learned a lot from wrestling. you know, just working hard, just working harder than everybody is the main thing. But I think as once you become an adult, you have to realize it's not just about working hard. It's about kind of like chess. Like it's not wrestling anymore. It's kind of chess. Life is chess. You know, it's not a wrestling match. So you gotta. I feel like you gotta be a little bit smarter. Which I'm not the smartest person in the world. So I lean back on or lean into, I guess, the just working harder than anybody. So like with guitar, you know, I started when I was 13, and like I said, a lot of days I'd play for 4 hours a day, and just getting in that work to where it's just natural. So now the guitar just feels like a piece of me, a part of me, and when it came to, like, I moved to Nashville, 2011, kind of that was a crazy way that happened, but it's kind of by accident almost, and people just kept telling me, you'd be good in Nashville, you should go to Nashville. I'm just playing at open mics up here and a couple gigs on the weekends, and I go to Nashville, and next thing you know, I'm getting fired from my day job because I'm playing every single night of the week till like 2 a.m, and then staying up after that, and just started slacking at work, I guess. And so it turned into just a full-time gig playing music, and I just hustled. You know, it got to the point where I was doing 350 shows a year. Just,
Jeez.
you know, singing 3 or 4 hours a day. On each, or 3 or 4 hours a gig. Sometimes the way it works a lot of times, because the weekend is when everybody wants to go out and see music. You know, it's the Monday through Wednesday gigs are kind of hard to find, really. Mm-hmm. But it would get to the point where I'd play like 2 gigs on Thursday, 2 gigs on Friday, 3 gigs on Saturday, 1 gig on Sunday, and then I'd have a couple days off. And
so you're playing like the lunch crowd, like at a pool party or something. You're playing an afternoon thing, and then you're playing like at the bars late at night.
Yeah, well, back then I was just playing at the bars. You know,
okay.
Like that, because Nashville, you know, you have a whole strip of it's live music from basically like 10 or 11 a.m. till 2 a.m. every single day. So it's really a great place if you're trying to get better and practice and learn your chops and get used to playing in front of a crowd. That's the place to do it, because you can do it all day, every day. Awesome. But yeah, so the wrestling thing, I was just so used to hard work, you know, like wrestling is a different kind of work than other sports, you know. It's a lot of just sweating it out and going for it. So there's still plenty of musicians that you hear on the radio that have never done anything like that, where they're singing 3 or 4 hours a day all year round. Yeah, you know? It's definitely a grind. So
mentally and physically.
Yeah. It's a hell of a workout, singing and trying to entertain a crowd and playing the guitar, like doing all that together at the same time. You know, it takes a lot out of you mentally, and especially if you're having a bad day or something, you still got to go out there. You got to smile. You got to, you know, get the crowd up. You're there to lift people's spirits up. So, you know, you have those days sometimes, but you know, no matter what job you're doing, you have those days, and you still got to put it together and get it done, you know?
Yeah, no doubt, man. So you spent some years in Nashville. Now you've been in Florida for how many years now?
Well, I've been touring to South Florida, all through Florida, for about probably 8 years. And during the pandemic, I just ended up, my buddy invited me down, and I'm like, no, I'm not leaving Nashville. And then it just got to the point where it was like everything shut down in Nashville. I toured down to Florida, and it was like everything was open. And I'm like, man, what am I doing in Nashville? And so I'm like, is the offer still on the table? And he's like, yeah. So I moved down, and it's been about 2 years, a little more than 2 years now, that I've been in Florida. But I'm still on the road so often. Like, I was on the road for 4 months straight last summer. Oh. Right now I'm about a month into it, up here, just going all over the place.
I love when it works out too, when you're on the road, that I can have you come to, you know, our house to play like you did this past weekend.
Oh yeah,
for the summer jam. Or like, you know, we used to come to my dad's when we'd have that cookout there. So that's always such a blast to have you playing, and people are always just blown away by the live performance.
Yeah, it was a fun, dude. You have a great crew around you. It's such a blast playing at your house. It's so much fun. It's really cool because as a musician, I've kind of got out of the whole working out. I mean, I still work out, I keep up with it a little bit, but you know, it's different when you have something to be competitive with, and like, you know, you have like a goal kind of thing, where athletically I don't really have any goals with that anymore, but I like to stay in shape because it feels good. But it's awesome just being around just a family, a group of people that just everybody has goals and everybody's still kicking ass and like working for it. It's so different than the music world, because I feel like music is more art, and it's not really concrete like that. It's like people either going to like you or they don't, where, if you go into the gym, if you work out every day, you can be the strongest person in that gym, and it's not up to anybody else's judgment. It's just a fact,
And I think too, anyone who works hard in the gym, no matter what their genetics are, and really even, I hate to say this, but no matter what training plan they're following. So they could follow my plan, which is going to be the best plan in the world, or they could just make something up that don't even make any sense, from a programming standpoint. But if they do it consistently and try hard, they're going to get stronger and improve. So it is a really great thing like that anyone can get good at it, or at least maybe not even good, but anyone can improve at it.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of Arnold's thing, right? Just get in there and just get the reps, get them in. That's it. And so it's it's wild how different music is, but how it's also the same. It's still, you gotta work like crazy. Like, I've been writing songs now for over 10 years, but I haven't been putting them out, so nobody's even seeing all that work yet.
Right.
So I'm just now actually, it's crazy because I could have been releasing this music years ago, but I just I felt like I wasn't really ready. Still learning a lot in the bars, and I've gotten to a point where I feel like I've learned everything I can in a bar, and it's time to, I feel like I've paid my dues now. It's time to start really do the artist thing and get out of the bars, get on the bigger stages, and really, it's like a new goal, which I haven't, like I told you just a few minutes ago, I haven't really had any goals with music. Just to make a living was like awesome. It's awesome,
because then that puts you in that small percentage of people that you are actually making a living playing music. But, maybe in some ways you've kind of topped out in that, to where like now you got to take that next step and really pursue the artistry of it. Yeah.
So now it's more getting more of a business plan together, which I'm not the best businessman, but I'm learning, I'm trying to get better here. I've done good enough I've done everything on my own for the last 10 years. I'm doing my own booking, my own like writing, recording, playing, singing, routing all the shows together. I do my own taxes even. So now it's time to I got to start getting other people to help me out a little bit and start releasing all this original music. And we just released a song in March called Today We Drink. It's about working your ass off, and it's the weekend finally. Now, hey, let's party a little bit, work hard, play hard. And that song did pretty well. And we just released another one here for July 4th, and it's called That Feeling. I've been playing these songs at the bars for a long time, and all the fans at the bars keep calling it Freedom. So I named it That Feeling, parentheses, Freedom. And it's also the same thing. It's about working hard, paying your dues, and just not giving up, and having faith that whatever your goal is, that you're working hard enough and it's going to happen. You have to be patient and just keep working. And, so that's what that song's about. But sorry, I'm going on tangents.
No, you're
here.
good, man. That's what it's just a conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People think, well, on a podcast, it's got to be question and answer, but no, we're here talking, just two dudes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
But let's do this. And I want everyone, all my listeners to be able to, and for the people watching on YouTube and stuff, to be able to actually get a feel for you, hear you play. But before we do that, I want you to tell everyone where they can find you at, where they can follow you, all that stuff. And we're going to have this linked up in the description, the comments and everything. But hey, listen, you're a wrestler, you're a wrestling coach, you're a fighter. That's why you watch my show. Support Jutt, support Huffman. This is one of ours right here. You know what I mean? Former state finalist turned musician, and he's got some incredible talent. He was a great wrestler, but he's a way better musician than he was a wrestler. You know what I mean? If he was state runner-up, this guy's world team level talent. You know what I mean? He'd be knocking off the he'd be knocking off the Colin Moores of the world if he was on the wrestling mat, if you looked at his musical talent. So make sure you guys give him a follow. Tell him where they can find you at. And then after that, why don't you give us a taste? You can either go into some original stuff first, or if you want to play a cover first, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, man. So you can find me at jutthuffman.com or Jutt Huffman on any of your social media, Spotify, Apple, whatever, anywhere. If you just type it in online, you can find me. Jutt is JUTTHUFFMAN. Jutt like butt is what I like to say. The second T is silent. It's not Jutt, it's just Jutt.
Yeah, so give him a follow. Make sure you add him on your Spotify playlists. Download his music on iTunes, all that good stuff.
Yeah. So what do you want to hear here? You want to do
So I think give us a cover first, maybe something that everyone will know to kind of pull them in, and then give us your latest song. Give us that feeling after that.
All right. Well, here, I'll do this. So I recorded a song in the studio on accident. It was at the end of a session, and we were all passing around a bottle of whiskey. And the engineers are like, hey, you guys want to do anything else? We got about 10 minutes left. And I'm like, you know what? Let's try this. So we did Thunderstruck as a trio. This is going to be kind of weird playing it solo, but let's see if we can do it here.
Now, do we need to have you off the mic a little bit for this?
Maybe,
I know you sing loud.
Yeah, let's back it up a little bit.
All right, so Thunderstruck is a great warm-up song, too.
Thunder. I was caught in the middle of a rock and roll town. Thunder looked around, and I knew there was no coming back. Thunder, my mind raced, and I thought, what could I do? Yeah. Thunder, and I knew there was no help from you. Thunder, sound of the drums beating in my heart. Thunder gains tell me apart. You've been, how's it go?
Thunderstruck.
Yeah! Rode down the highway, broke the limit, we hit the town. Thunder went through the Texas, yeah, Texas, we had some fun. Thunder, we met some girls, some dancers who gave a good time, yeah. Thunder broke all the rules, played all the fools, yeah, 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 they blew our minds. I was shaking off the knees. Could I come again, please? Yeah, them ladies were too kind. You've been thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Yeah, 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 thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. I was shaking off the knees. Could I come again, please? You've been thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Yeah, 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 thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. I said, you, it's alright. You doing fine. Yeah, you, it's alright. You're doing fine. Thunderstruck. 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 You've been thunderstruck. That's just rock and roll, baby.
Man, that was killer. Dude, you sound so much like him too.
Right?
Which that's not your normal singing voice either, and you sound just like him.
No, I learned I could do that on accident in the wintertime in Nashville, playing to almost nobody. Somebody requested it. I looked at my band. I'm like, can y'all play that? And they're like, yeah. And we had a little bit to drink, and I just started singing it, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know I could do that. people ask me often, like, play your favorite song. Because I normally, at the bar, if you ever see me at a bar playing, I'm always taking requests. I'm like, well, I'll play whatever you want, as long as I can play it. And there's about a 90, probably 95% chance that whatever you say, I can probably do it. Until you start getting somebody, like, basically just naming a bunch of Canadian musicians or something that nobody's, you know, that nobody in America's really heard of. But as far as, like, mainstream stuff, I do a lot of that.
You know, at my party this past weekend, like anything anyone yelled out, you played it. It was like Oasis, Fleetwood Mac, Sublime, like whatever, you know, whatever someone said, you could do it. It was incredible.
Well, what was great about your party is there were a lot of requests that I haven't played in a long time. So it was fun for me because, you know, you get stuck into this thing where you're playing Wagon Wheel every gig or Chicken Fried or, you know, even like I love Sublime, but after you play What I Got, you know, 1,000 times, it gets to the point where you're like, I'm not sure if I want to play that right now. But so anyways, people ask me what my favorite song is, and it's always hard to have, like, what do you have a favorite song? Because it's hard to have a favorite song, right? So it's always changing, but this is definitely in the probably top 3 of my favorite songs that I've ever written. It's called That Feeling, and it's about it's just about freedom. It's about working hard and just knowing that you can come up from anything. And I feel like it's a privilege to live here in America. And I feel like I'm an example of the American dream, even though I haven't really made it yet, according to some people. I feel like I've made it because I came up in, like, poverty, basically, and I'm kind of out of it. I mean, you know, I'm still
You're making a living doing what you love to do.
I'm still a broke musician, but I'm getting to travel the country and play music and just live this crazy lifestyle that doesn't even sound real. And I got another song called Crazy Dream that's going to be the title of this album that we just produced in the same studio that Jelly Roll just recorded in. My buddy Grady's, he turned his house into a studio, and at some point he'd been doing it for years, and he kicked out his wife and his kid. He's like, y'all got to leave. We got to turn this into a mastering room and a mixing room. And he got him a new house. So his whole house turned into just an awesome studio out near Nashville in Mount Juliet.
And you played Crazy Dream the other night, right?
Crazy Dream, yeah.
Yeah, I remember you playing that. That was killer.
Yeah, that's kind of
the one Corey recorded, actually, I think, right?
Yeah, he did.
He got a clip of it.
He posted it on Instagram, a little clip of it. But yeah, that's kind of like my Ohio roots, where there's a lot of bluegrass in Ohio. There's a lot more bluegrass in Ohio, I feel like. I'm not sure, of the facts, but it feels like there's more bluegrass in Ohio than there is in Nashville. You can find it in Nashville, and they're incredible in Nashville if you find a bluegrass show. But this is kind of, like, well, we're not even going to play that show, but that's like or play that song for this one. We might get to it, but this song's called That Feeling, and we just released it here about a week or so ago, right around July 4th. We just did a music video I'm about to release in a mud pit, a bunch of mudding. Have you ever gone mudding in, like, big, huge trucks, lift kits, and you just go through the mud?
I have not, but I'm familiar with it.
It's called mud bogging, I think is the technical name. But we did a whole music video for this song in there. And at one point, the truck, this is like one of the biggest trucks there, it flipped sideways. I had a camera guy in there, had all his gear, I had my other Strat that I made. I built this guitar, and it's like in the mud. We're climbing out the window, getting out of there, and it would have been sweet to record that, but it was just kind of a fluke thing. But anyways, I keep getting sidetracked. This song's just about freedom. It's called That Feeling. I really hope that if you like it, y'all can help out and share it with your people. Put it on repeat when you go to sleep, whatever you got to do to get it up there. It goes like this. It's a strum of the strings when the first note rings, the sound of the crowd when the drums get loud. That's freedom, yeah. That feeling when the flicker turns to flame, when I walk out on the stage, I can hear it call my name, and my heart starts beating. That feeling you get when the work's all done,
When your dues are all paid and your time has come, you've been busting your ass, been walking that line. You know everything good comes with a price. That feeling, dreaming, don't stop believing. Push come to shove, yeah, it happens for a reason. Won't back down, never give up that feeling. Never give up, never gonna change. If I could do it all over, man, I'd do it the same. That's freedom, yeah. That feeling, it's year after year and show after show. Miles on these American roads, that's freedom. That feeling you get when the work's all done, when your dues are all paid and your time has come. You've been breaking your back, been walking that line. You know everything good comes with a price. That feeling, dreaming, don't stop believing. Push come to shove, yeah, it happens for a reason. Won't back down, never give up that feeling. Don't give up that feeling. I won't. It's family and God in our way of life, the courage to fight for what you know is right. It's those who served and those who died for the stars and stripes that symbolize the feeling you get when the work's all done, when your dues are all paid and your time has come. You've been busting your ass, been walking that line. You know everything good comes with a price. That feeling, dreaming, don't stop believing. Push come to shove, yeah, it happens for a reason. Won't back down, never give up that feeling. Don't give up that feeling. Cause we got freedom. Yeah, we do. So don't give up that feeling. Never give up, never give away. Land of the free and the home of the brave.
Judd, that gave me the chills.
Awesome, man.
That was really good, man.
Thanks. Like I said, this is a song that I actually wrote it with my buddy Matt Marinchik that I was just talking about, the basketball player for the Buckeyes. And you know, we both are very similar, just workaholics, and you know, we love America. We know that we're blessed, and we've had a lot of opportunity in our lives. So it's about just taking advantage of that, man, and going after it. So that song's so close to my heart. So it's such a great feeling to finally release it and actually like go into the studio and record it. And I got to produce it too. And it's just awesome working with Grady Saxman down there in Nashville. If there's any of y'all out there that do music and you want to get a solid recording, reach out to Saxman Studios, man. It's a one-stop shop. They'll do it all. And if you can't even play an instrument, they got you. They'll bring in the guys. They'll bring in all the best, and it's a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, Judd, I definitely appreciate getting to see you this summer. I'm glad that we were able to link up. You were able to come by the house and entertain all my friends and family.
Yeah,
I'm super pumped that you're able to come today and be on the podcast for our first ever musical performance here in the HQ and on the Wrestling Strength podcast. So again, anyone who's listening, make sure you guys give Judd a follow. Make sure you check out all of his music, follow him, add him on Spotify. Make sure you download That Feeling. I'll tell you what, that gave me that feeling right there. That's just a great song to really just feel good and about your hard work and being patriotic and everything, man.
Yeah, man, I'm glad. I think it could really resonate, with anybody that's a hard worker. It's
Absolutely.
I tried to really make it, especially the chorus, broad, so everybody can really understand it. The verses are more personal to me and my my hustle, my struggle. But yeah. Hey, by the way, I got these shirts for you, man.
Awesome, man.
And hats. So our last single was called "Today We Drink." My friend Victoria drew this out. It's
You got this for sale online or anything?
Yeah,
too?
these are online. You can go to JuttHuffman.com or Instagram. There's a Linktree account that'll take you right to the whole thing. But today we drink, and it doesn't have to be alcohol. It can be protein drinks. It can be pre-workout. It can be
amino recovery. Today we
drink. Amino recovery, baby. Yeah.
I love it. All right. Well, tune in. I can't wait to get these clips chopped up so everyone can see them in.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really appreciate you having me. Thanks for, it's awesome to be able to roll through, and you got me in here and knock it out.
Well, now we get to go do the fun stuff. We're about to go do Fire and Ice at the house. So.
I'm excited about this because I remember in college, I wrestled for 1 year in college at Kent State, and I remember
Golden Flashes represent.
Yeah, and Lashaway. And I remember doing my first like ice bath. I guess it's like a whirlpool. Or whatever.
The cold tubs they got.
Woo, that's a mental thing right there. Just being able to stay in there for more than a few minutes. So I'm looking forward to trying.
Yeah, we're about to get chin deep in the ice barrel, and then I got my Redwood Outdoor sauna, which will be by the time we finish our workout. I mean, the sauna will probably be about 240. So we're gonna go to a different place. We're gonna go to the spirit world with our Fire and Ice today. All right.
Awesome.
Peace out.
All right. Thanks for having me.